had a good thought. Figured I should flip the camera on, see if I could express it. Probably already gone. Just like that. And they come and go, them good thoughts. Come and go. So, somebody said that there is a lot of, he said a comment on one of my videos, and he said that I appreciate them all, even the hateful ones, guys. He said, I'm confused, but that's a lot of evidence for the flat earth. So simple too, right? All the evidences are right there, and you can go out and see them and look at them and observe them all for yourself. And with a little bit of study, you can go out and find out that all the things that we think we know, we thought we knew cigarettes were good for you. You know, Laramie cigarettes are a part of your balanced breakfast. Right? And all the doctors agreed, you know, Laramies are the best for you. Smoke Laramies. Science can be very wrong. Even still today, a lot of people think that our science is settled on a lot of things, and it's not just not settled. Actually, when you look at the evidences, it goes the other way. All evidence points away from heliocentric theory and away from billions of years and away from evolution and away from space, right? All the evidence does. It's just if you listen to what they yell, they're going to scream the lies, but they got to whisper the truth. That's part of Satanism. That they have to get you to willingly give yourself to their cult, and they have to tell you what they're up to in some way. Now they can also lie and do anything, all these other, like there's all kinds of manipulation to it. But they did have to say it once. And so all that information's there. You can go find, well, not all of it. You can find out that most of the information's there, and the information that isn't there, that maybe like something's missing or something's held back, or you're thinking like how many people have to be involved in this in order to make this happen, like you'd have to have every scientist in the world lying. No. First off, you have every scientist in the world under contract. That's the thing. And they're not all lying about everything. Like I said, they don't all know everything. You could take 7, 8 years and study whatever, medical field, study the human body, and not even scratch the surface of everything that you could possibly learn about the human anatomy and the biology and everything else. Not even close. And it's not like you can go and apply that to every other animal on Earth. You can apply a lot of it to other animals on Earth and stuff like that, I'm sure, right? But you know, just because you learned where a kidney is and how it works, it doesn't mean you know how to replace it yet. You know, like, there's still a lot to learn. And like our whole medical field, there's so much to learn in the front that they don't even learn about the back. for the most part. You got to go into and then you got to go into specialty fields in order to just to start to understand the field that you're in. So not everybody has to be in on it, because you just don't show them that. It's just like when you're teaching kids in school, like they've lied to you all the way through, and then you go to these universities and they got all these perfect lies all set up so that they can push you through there, and you're absorbing so much information that it's hard to fathom it all out. And by the time you do, it's 10 years after you graduated and you're out in the field for a while and stuff like that, but you're under contract for everything that you've discovered. They don't have the money to go and fund a dig. There's not a lot of archaeologists out there that are out funding their own work. They got to go to George Soros. They got to go to Bill Gates. They got to go to these guys, the top guys. And there's only so many of them that fund this shit. So many groups that'll fund this stuff. And trust me, they all go to Davos. Anybody that has the money to fund that is going to the Davos meetings and on all those secret society meetings and shit. So they've got plans. They've admitted about the Great Reset. They talk about it constantly. And then everybody's all confused about why the economy's going to shit so fast, and they're all like, oh, why, duh, what the fuck, what's going on? And then they're going, oh, the Great Reset, blah, 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 right over here beside you. You can't enact a reset. You don't reset your Nintendo game until you died. You don't hit reset until it's fucked. You've taken it as far as you can, and you say, shit, okay, now it's fucked, or a glitch happens in the game, and shit, now I'll hit reset. But you don't hit that reset until that's like your last option. I still game a little tiny bit, and so the game I play is like a Risk war strategy game. It's real simple, but the levels in it are just set up in such that they'll set you in a scenario weak with a bunch of stuff around you, and you got to try to take over and sometimes I'll get stuck on a single map, and they give you the option to skip that level or whatever, so you can skip levels to make it easier for people that can't figure it out or whatever. It makes me think back to when I was a kid and having games, and I'll stick it out even today with my games. I'll try and fail and try, and yeah, it's frustrating, whatever, but it's rewarding when you do finally get it. And and then I think back to original Nintendo. That's why I was thinking about it, that reset button thing, and the Sega. Man, there were games that you just couldn't beat, or parts in games that you had to do 1,000 times or 100 times or whatever. You just had to sit there frustratingly do it over and over. And as a kid, I can remember temper tantrums. You throw the controller on the ground, kick the Nintendo or whatever. My buddy was real bad. He was a spoiled kid, so it didn't matter to him. He'd throw the controllers at the TV and smash them all up, and his shit would be broken constantly, right? But then he'd just get new shit immediately to replace it. But yeah, he'd have the coolest and the best, and you'd go over and you'd want to play with it or whatever, and he'd already have broken it. But yeah. Anyway, but we just stuck it out. Even him and I, you know what I mean? You just kept doing it over and over. You'd get pissed, you'd break it, you'd get the new controller, start going at it again, and you just go and do it over and over and over and over and over. Eventually, you got good at it, and then you could do it. Or if you couldn't, eventually you got a new game, and you just threw that one into the fucking pile of games that you couldn't do, and it was fine. You know, it was frustrating, and you wanted to be able to do it, but you couldn't. Your skill level wasn't there. So it would be interesting now, maybe, to go back and try those. I remember a simple helicopter game for Sega. And you had 3 helicopters. You could earn to get new ones, 3 lives. And that was it. You had to beat the whole entire game with 3 lives. And your extra ones that you'd get here and there maybe along the way. But it was challenging. It was super challenging. It was like unbelievable how hard that game was. And I put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into playing it. And you couldn't save or anything, so you'd have to just like leave it running overnight. Come home and continue trying to play it, or go to school, come home and continue your game over to try to extend to get to the end of it. And then, like I was saying, if you lost a helicopter in the first 5 levels, if you didn't do them absolutely perfect, then you might as well hit reset. Because once you got those levels perfect, you had to do them perfect in order to have enough to get into the upper levels that you were trying to get into or whatever. I loved the game, but it was freaking hard, and you just had like a little grapple. You had to pick things up and take them back, and you had a gun. It was just 2D, so you know, might have had a little bit of 3D space, but it was still in a 2D world, so even if you moved this way and that way, you didn't really notice, other than you would hit different targets or whatever. Anyway, so very low graphic, but fun, based on skill level and challenging and all that. Our games today don't have that. That's why I don't game anymore. The challenge level is just gone, and then everything's got easy, super easy, all this. And it's more about being pretty, the game look of the game, than it is about playability and whatever. Kind of sucks. It's what our whole society's doing. Is just our standards just keep going down and down and down. Happens with presidents, I noticed. If you got like when Clinton got his blowjob, and then President Bush got elected in, he was like ex-cokehead, you know what I mean? Douchebag, spoiled little rich boy, with no brains at all. He was a total airhead, you know, held phones upside down to his head and stuff. And then we got Obama, who was slicker than snot, but evil in most of the things that he did and the things that he was enacting, and he was more setting up for the destruction that Biden's accomplishing now, to destroy the whole economy of the world in order to enact the Great Reset or whatever. Probably not allowed to say that, but that's just how it appears. It's not definitive on that or anything like that. It's just everything leads to that. The phone's, oh, I'm out of memory.